This team was pegged as a contender, coming into the season with the talent, the depth on this roster, and obviously you guys have dealt with injury and roster changes, but what do you think is missing right now from really allowing that to click, that competition with the upper echelon to click on a consistent basis?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's for everybody else to discuss whether we were really ready to be a contender or not. Certainly there's no substitute for experience, and Tosh and Sid are the ones on our team that have championship caliber experience, and so you got to go through it. I do think, disruption in rotation, playing players in different positions because of that disruption hasn't allowed the continuity probably as much as we'd like. But you can see it in spurts, right? You can see it in certain spurts where we have that. And so being able to, the difference in championship caliber teams are those 2 or 3 minutes in a ball game, where you can't have the miscommunications, you can't have the breakdowns, you can't have the poor shot selection, playing outside yourself, whatever it may be. Games and series are won and lost in those small margins. And right now, we might have moments, and it might be 30 minutes a game, it might be 38 minutes a game, but those 2 minutes matter. And we've got to get to the point where we're not having those moments and those lulls.
Obviously it's tough because of all the turnover and Caitlin being in and out, but to what you were just discussing, when do you think you might have an idea of what this team can be or is and are comfortable stating that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's not something I have an answer to. I think we've had moments, and again, I know it sounds corny to hear the same thing over and over, but it is consistency. We had moments early in the season when Caitlin was on the floor, especially, where we were getting lots of production from our bench. Now we've got players who are coming off the bench in our starting lineup. Certainly we have different personnel than we had. We've got players that are playing at some times based on certain matchups or certain players that we have available playing out of position. And we might not. We might not with disruptions, but we got to figure out, how to maintain consistency with what we have. And again, that goes to those lulls. I mean, that 16-3 or 18-3 run, whatever it may be, into the third, start of the fourth, that's the difference in the ball game. And we've got to have that sense of urgency at all times for 40 minutes.